Good morning. It's Gary back from G&H Honey Bees. This is an April 23rd update, and our April showers have hit, and it's about 13 Celsius, which is 53 to 55 Fahrenheit. And I thought I'd just give you a run through on what's been going on. It's been quite busy. I don't know if you can see too much of the maple tree there, but that's one of the big maple trees right local, and it has been in full bloom for over a week, and it's just about finished. And of course there's one way over there, and there's another little red maple right there above that roof on the other side of that building there, and I got a couple more in the front and a couple more in the back. But it's been raining lightly for the last 2 days. We've had really good hot weather, or what we consider hot weather. It's been up to 24 Celsius, somewhere near the 70-degree range for, I don't know, we had about 10 days of that. And so this box here, this is the split that I did the other day from the Carniolans. And so I put this box back here for two reasons. One, this location apparently isn't far enough away from my main yard that the bees, when I put them into the 10-frame box the other day, some of the foragers, were coming back here. So instead of letting them perish, I did the split. And I brought this box back here, and of course the bees, there was, I don't know, 3 or 4 bees flying around here, and they immediately landed and went in. And as you can see, there's a few flying today, a few foragers. So I've got my sugar water feeder in here. I've been keeping an eye on it. Because it's cooled off a little bit, I've been feeding them sugar water. They have pollen patty as well, just to help them out. And so next door here is a split. This used to be this medium box and this medium box together. So what I did was I took, and this is about 3 weeks ago, a little over 3 weeks ago now, I took the top box off and I put it over here. And the queen was in here, and most of the bees. And I made sure that I had a frame of eggs and some cap brood and put them in here. Now I know you're supposed to move when you do a split. I know you're supposed to move the split about 3 miles away. But I figured that because there was a lot of bees foraging from the box to begin with, that if I just left this box here, that the foragers would all come back here and boost the population, and which they did. And they have raised a queen, and I've seen her, and she looks like she's mated. She's nice and big, and there are some eggs and stuff in there. I didn't actually see any grubs when I peeked in there the other day when it was still warm. But I did see eggs, so I think she started to lay. And so I'm going to give them about a week, and we'll see how that turns out. And I'll show you the queen when I get around to marking her, if I'm satisfied with her performance. So this was the top box of that colony. And yeah, there's the odd ones coming out and flying, foraging here too. And they're building up again because a lot of bees did go back to the other box. And so they're both seem to be doing okay. And of course right here, this is just a quickly thrown together stand. This is where I brought the split from my main yard over to, and I set them up here for a week, and then I took them back to the main yard. So let's go off to the main yard, and I'll show you what's going on over there. So I'll be back shortly. Oh, and just a quick note, I didn't tell you the second reason why I wanted this split here. I've only got one Carniolan queen left, and that's now in the 10 frame over at my other location. And I really want another Carniolan queen, so I'm hoping they'll raise me a nice big fat Carniolan queen that's going to do well. And the roar that you hear when they become queenless has almost ceased for now. And that's quite possibly means that they've got queen cells started. So we'll just check them in a few days when the sun comes back out and it gets warmer, and we'll see what kind of stuff they're doing in there. Alright, so that was the second reason. Alright, so I'm back. Here we are at my main yard, and as you can see, I have 3 nukes set up here. And this nuke here, this is the first split I did off of that 3 medium high box colony. And this is the one that I took over to the other location, set them up there for a week, and then I brought them back here. So I believe it was last Tuesday, I checked in there. The queen cells that they had started were all capped, and to my surprise, the original 5 queen cells were capped, and they'd already started 6 more for some reason. I don't know why, but they started 6 more. So I thought I could make another colony out of this. So I took a 1-inch wide scraper, and I sharpened it a little bit. Not too sharp, but just enough to put a bit of a beveled edge on it. And I took gently, I got around 2 of the queen cells that were in here that were sort of standing off by themselves, and I got right underneath them, and I lifted them off the foundation. And fortunately they weren't broken open in the back or anything. So I had 2 queen cells, and I got another full frame of brood from the big colony, put it in this nuke with the bees, and another frame with some eggs and bees on it. And I took the scraper, and on the frame that had all the brood on it, just right beside where the brood was capped off, I mashed down some of the wax to make an indent, and then I put those 2 queen cells in that indent, and I sort of tucked them in there and gently tapped the back of them, or the top where the wax was, just so it would stick. And then I gently lowered them into the box, and I put them in there, and we'll see how that works out. And of course, you saw me take the queen out of here, and of course I had taken yet another frame of brood and bees from here and put them in there. And they have a queen cell, at least one that I know of, and we'll see how that goes. Now, when I've been doing these splits, I've been looking in this box for frames of capped brood that are really dark, which means they're pretty close to emerging. And then when you put them into here, they should, with the nurse bees, they should emerge and provide extra population for these nukes to help them get going. Because there's not a lot of foragers, because they're right next to the donor hive. And the forages, of course, all came out, and they all went back to the donor hive when they came back from foraging. So we'll just have to wait and see. This split was done on the 14th, so it should be 28th to the 30th that we should have a queen emerging. And same for here, because it's the same set of queen cells. This one was a couple of days later, so probably sometime early in May, first week of May, we'll have maybe a new queen in here. And this colony here, of course, I only had them 2 boxes high, and I kept them that way so that they would get crowded. And they have tons of drone cells in there, and they were starting queen cup, so they were almost in the swarm mode. And now that I've done the splits, I've added this extra box on the top just to give them space for the queen to lay, because I made the mistake of putting newer comb in that bottom box when I took the other frames out for the split. And in the newer comb, of course, they're going to fill it up with nectar and honey. And I should have been putting older dark comb in there. And I don't know what the difference is, but they seem to leave the darker comb for the queen to lay eggs in. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, they're doing all right. There's a few flying today. And of course, we have the nuke that I just put into this 10 frame box the other day as well. And they're doing really well, and hopefully they've settled in, and they're going to build up nicely. So I'll have, now that one's a Carniolan, and this one's Italian, so all these nukes here are going to be Italians. And I kind of like the Italians as well as the Carniolans, because they seem to do really well. And they have no problems making honey either. So other than that, that's what's been going on. I have been feeding these girls in the nukes and the big boxes as well, pollen patties and sugar water. And I know that lid's just a bit tight. We'll see how it's going. You can see some of them in there. Oh, they say sunlight, smile for the camera, girls. You can see I've got my sugar water in there. They aren't touching it right at the moment. But as soon as they see daylight, they want to get out. So we'll just leave them be. Get this lid back on here. I think the wood's got a little wet and it's swollen up a little bit. And of course I make my stuff to precise fit, and I shouldn't do that. I should give it some extra room. But anyway, that's just me. So now on the other side of things, we have our black-eyed Susans coming up here. They look like they're doing good. They're starting out good. And to my surprise, these two little pots last year, I tried to plant some fireweed seeds from the bush, and we had one, and it grew, I don't know, maybe 12-13 inches high, and then had some real tiny flowers on it. And okay, well, so much for that experiment. But so far this year we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plants coming up. Now that's fireweed. And fireweed is it has that kind of a root that goes underground, and then they come up from that. And in here, there's one there, there's two there. This is parsley. The other thing that's in here is parsley. And so what I might do is take the soil that's in these boxes, and I might find some spots back here by near the fence, near the back, and plant those fireweed back there, just to see how they do. There isn't much else going on. That's the blackberry bushes that they seem to like when the time comes. And we have some raspberry canes here. They're just starting up as well. There's some small flower buds there. But it'll be a couple of weeks. We're going to have to get some more sunshine again, of course, and everything will start blooming, and the bees will have plenty to forage from. I think the maple trees are pretty much finished for now. In here we have bachelor buttons. They're getting going. Not very tall yet, but they're getting going. And again, up in this back garden, we have a ton of bachelor buttons all across there. And you can see some are actually out in the back there. And the bees love those things. I have some there. Problem with bachelor buttons is they kind of just take over. But it's okay. They're a nice looking flower and the bees like them, so they stay. And this tree here, now you can see little red berries coming out here. It's not quite ready yet though. The bees really like this stuff too, and I don't know what it's called. There's some more bachelor buttons. I have no idea what that's called. But the bees like it when it's in bloom. And this is a butterfly bush, but it's a long ways from doing anything serious. And we have some lavender coming out there. Just getting going. And in the greenhouse, I've started, I've got some more bachelor buttons there. And I'm not sure if that's flowers from seeds coming up there, but we'll have to wait and see. It's warm in here. So my daughter found me some seeds, and there's supposed to all be bee plants, and you can see various things growing up here, but I think I got some soil from the from my compost heap, and I think that's mostly weed. So I've started another pot with clean soil that we got from the garden center, and we'll see what comes up there, and then we can decide what to do with this, because as you can see, there's a bit of lettuce growing in that. So I think these are just straight weeds. But I don't know what some of these flowers that are supposed to be coming up actually look like, so we'll have to wait and see. But other than that, and my better half has tomatoes started, and that's pretty much it for. I've been doing some yard cleanup and getting stuff ready for when the weather gets nice. Now, what was I going to say? Oh, I know there's a lot of queen cells in this box, but because I'm just a backyard beekeeper, I only have so much equipment and so many places to put bees. And these two boxes here, if and when they get a mated queen and they get going, are going to be going out to the people that live in the dream farm. Now, I'm raising them, I'm just going to give them to them, not going to charge them any money or anything for it. I just figure it's a good thing to do, get them started again, because they lost all their bees over the winter. They had 4 colonies out there, and they lost every last one of their colonies. The 2 big boxes over at my other location, they're going to be for Norman. He lost all his bees over the winter. So I'm kind of like the main supplier of bees right now, because I'm the only one that I seem to have wintered through with at least 2 or 3 good colonies. Now this past winter, and this is just my speculation on why people are losing colonies left, right, and center. The colony that was here, they were 3 medium boxes high. They had a decent population, and they looked like they were going to make it through just fine. And my first inspection of them, I opened them up, and there was less than maybe half a pound of bees and the queen left in the box. And when I got down to the bottom screen board, I expected to find hundreds of dead bees on the screen. But instead, I only found like a dozen. I mean, it was clean. And the people from the Live in the Dream farm said their hives were like that too. But the clusters of bees that were with the queen, they had died because in February and March we had finally got our winter. We finally got our cold snap in, and it was down, you know, a few days it was down to -4 with a wind chill of like -10 and stuff. And I think that's probably what finished off their colonies. But why there was no dead bees on the bottoms of this box is beyond me. And Norman's were similar. And to me, I think it was too warm all winter. Like if you saw my video in January, I was showing off that the bees were all alive and they were flying because it was 14 degrees Celsius, which is, I don't know, 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Instead of being like down around 4 Celsius and below, we had a really warm winter, and a lot of days bees were flying. And these bigger colonies, when they were going, or through the winter when it was warm, I was taking crystallized honey and I was putting them in the sugar, putting that in the sugar feeder, because I figure I've got a little bit extra honey left over. It's all crystallized, hard as rock. I can put it in the feeders, and the bees can make better use of that than they could sugar water or just plain sugar, dry sugar. And I don't know if that's what got this colony through and the nuke that was over at my other location and the other box that's over at my other location. But they were taking honey, and every 2 or 3 days I'd take like an ice cream scoop and gouge out a couple of scoops of honey, and I would just put it in the feeders for them, and they were quite happy to get it. So I don't know if that's what got them through, or I have no idea really. It's hard to tell. But I figure it was too warm this past winter, and because the queen doesn't lay eggs all winter, I think what was happening was because the bees are so active that they were wearing themselves out and just dying off, or they were flying out to forage and it would get chilly enough for them that they couldn't come back. So I don't know, let me know what your thoughts on that are, because that's the only thing I can think of, is that they were flying out on the days where it was, you know, 10 degrees Celsius and above, and they were getting chilly and not being able to come back, thus diminishing the numbers of bees in the colony. And that's why I think I didn't see any bees in the bottom of this box that were dead, because they were just constantly flying during the day, and you know, into the evening it would chill off quite quickly and it would get down around 4, and that would mean that the bees would seize up and stay where they're located, and then they would eventually just die off because they were too cold. So that's my theory on what happened. And it's not just the Living the Dream farm that lost their bees, or Norman. People have been phoning Norman looking for bees because they lost all their colonies too. So I don't know if this has to do with climate change, and I still don't know why I didn't lose all of mine. I did lose a big colony there in the end, and more or less lost this one here in the middle. But I still had this one, and she's going like gangbusters right now, so we'll get through this season and see what happens this coming winter. So anyway, I'm going to sign off now. I think I've gabbered on enough, and we'll talk to you again soon. When the weather clears up, we'll see what the queen situation is like in these nukes and stuff, and yeah. So I hope you're all having a good day, and I hope you're all staying safe and healthy, and we'll be back again. So thanks for watching, and you know, please share and like and subscribe if you can, and we'll keep going with our videos. Thanks for now. Bye.